Have you ever felt like becoming yourself is not a glow-up, not a proud moment, but something painful, confusing, almost like you're losing parts of your life while trying to find who you really are? Not the version your parents imagined, not the version your friends got used to, not the version society rewards, but the raw, uncomfortable, unpredictable version that feels real, even if it doesn't fit anywhere. Because nobody tells you this part. Nobody tells you that becoming yourself doesn't start with confidence. It starts with doubt. It starts with questioning everything you once believed. It starts with feeling like you're breaking your own life apart, just to see what's actually yours. There's a reason why this process feels so intense. From childhood, you are slowly shaped into someone acceptable. You learn what gets approval, what gets attention, what gets love. You learn how to behave, how to speak, how to hide certain parts of yourself. And without even realizing it, you build a version of yourself that works, but doesn't fully belong to you. And then one day, something shifts. Maybe it's a failure. Maybe it's heartbreak. Maybe it's a quiet moment where you realize, this life doesn't feel like mine. And that's where the pain begins. Think about Albert Einstein. As a child, he was considered slow by traditional standards. Teachers didn't see brilliance. They saw someone who didn't fit their system. Now imagine if he had forced himself to fit in, to become normal just to be accepted. The world would have lost something extraordinary. But here's the part people don't talk about. Before the recognition, before the genius label, there was confusion, rejection, isolation. Becoming himself wasn't celebrated at first. It was misunderstood. Or take Nikola Tesla, a mind far ahead of his time, visionary, brilliant, but also deeply alone. His ideas didn't always match the world he lived in. He wasn't always rewarded for being himself. In fact, he often paid the price for it. Because when you think differently, when you refuse to conform, the world doesn't immediately clap for you. Sometimes it pushes you away. Even in modern times, look at Elon Musk. Before success became visible, there were failures, criticism, public doubt. He didn't become who he is by following a safe, predictable path. He followed something internal, something uncertain. And that path comes with pressure, with judgment, with moments where even you start questioning yourself. And this is where the real psychology begins. Becoming yourself requires letting go of identities that once made you feel safe. The good child, the perfect student, the people pleaser, the one who always fits in. And when you start shedding these roles, it doesn't feel freeing at first. It feels like losing stability, because those roles gave you a place in the world. Without them, you feel exposed. There is a phase where everything feels unclear. You don't fully recognize yourself, but you also can't go back to who you were. Conversations feel different. Relationships feel different. Things that once excited you now feel empty. And this creates a strange loneliness, not because people are gone, but because you are changing internally in a way they can't fully see. And here's something powerful. Most people avoid this phase, not because they don't want to grow, but because the discomfort feels too heavy. It's easier to stay in a familiar identity than to walk through uncertainty. It's easier to live a life that makes sense to others than to build one that feels true to you. But if you stay long enough in this uncomfortable space, something shifts. You start noticing your real preferences, your real thoughts, your real boundaries. You start saying no to things that don't feel right, even if it disappoints people. You start choosing paths that don't make sense logically, but feel aligned internally. And slowly, piece by piece, a more authentic version of you begins to form. And this version is not perfect. It's not always confident. It still doubts. still struggles, but it feels real. And that realness brings a different kind of strength, because when you're no longer pretending, you stop wasting energy trying to maintain an image. You start living instead of performing. Now think about this deeply. The pain of becoming yourself is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is changing at a fundamental level. You are rewriting your identity. You are stepping out of conditioning that has been building for years. That process is not supposed to feel easy. There will be moments where you question everything. Moments where you wonder if you're making a mistake. Moments where going back feels tempting. But going back doesn't erase what you've realized. Once you've seen your truth, you can't unsee it. And maybe the hardest part is accepting that not everyone will understand the version you are becoming. Some people will prefer the old you, the easier you, the more predictable you. And choosing yourself might mean outgrowing certain connections, not out of anger, but out of alignment. But here's the quiet reward. When you fully step into who you are, even with all the imperfections, something inside you settles. Not because life becomes easy, but because it becomes honest. And that honesty creates a kind of peace that pretending never could. So if you're in that phase right now, where everything feels uncertain, where you feel like you're losing more than you're gaining, understand this. You're not falling apart. You're becoming. And becoming was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to be real.